I will give you my predictions for the 2024 season. Before I do, I just want to say that I gave predictions for the 2023 season from start to finish, and you can look in the comments section to see those predictions I did from last year. I'm on a 2-game losing streak right now, so I'm not sure how I'm going to do with my predictions for 2024, but that's just part of the fun of it all. So see how everything goes. Now, last year, SC ended on a very disappointing note in the regular season. Did a little bit better in the bowl game, but because of that regular season, there's just a lot of questions, and there's, I'm gonna, place a burden of proof on Lincoln Riley. He has to show us that things have turned around. Now, there's reason to be optimistic with the defensive coaching staff that has been put in place. Alex Grinch is gone. Thank goodness for that. That was probably the worst decision that Lincoln Riley has ever made in his coaching career, to have that guy on the staff, but that's just what it was. Missed opportunities for Caleb Williams and this team to make it to the playoffs and win the Pac-12 at that time. But that's what it is. It's the past. So we'll hope that Lincoln Riley has learned from it, and we'll see this season. Now, for some of the good things, again, with this team, again, revamped coaching staff for the defense. I would say the wide receiving core looks good. Group of sophomores, Zach Branch, Deuce Robinson, Makai Lemon, Jacoby Lane, should be a solid group. I think Miller Moss has proven himself to be a capable quarterback, as we saw in the bowl game against Louisville at the end of last season. So there are reasons to be optimistic. Also, the team is bigger. The defensive line, I think, has added 300 pounds total there. So I think they're getting ready for Big Ten play, and I think Lincoln Riley knows that the style of play that he did in his first 2 years at USC and whatever he did at Oklahoma, it's just not going to work in the current state of college football and being in the Big Ten. So that's what we're all going to wait and see on how things progress there. But again, I have my questions, and I'm going to be a little bit more conservative in my expectations for 2024, which isn't a bad thing, because just even though I wasn't making videos in the past, I can say that in many of the years where I predicted USC to not play as well, they ended up exceeding expectations. Whether it was even the first year of Lincoln Riley, the 2011 season, 2016 season, those were some examples where I thought SC did better than I thought they would. But then also when I predicted them to be, to have a great seasons where they might go 11-1 or 12-0 or anything like that at some point, they have disappointed me, just as they did last year. So I'm taking a more conservative approach, and if you're an SC fan and some of my predictions you might disagree with, well, just note that I would love to be wrong for the ones that I predict losses, and I'll be right there with everyone else celebrating those wins. But let's just jump right into it. So, first game, LSU in Las Vegas. I predict that to be a loss. I just don't know if they're going to be quite ready for that one. I know LSU, very similar to USC, replacing a Heisman quarterback, getting a new defensive coordinator, replacing a lot of talent, also other talent on the offensive side of the ball. But I think SC just has a little bit more of ways to go than LSU right now. So unfortunately, I hate to say it, I'm giving the win to LSU there. Next game at home against Utah State, I predict a win for SC. This would be the only game on the schedule where if they didn't win, then I would be shocked or surprised, I guess you could say. But I think SC gets an easy win against Utah State. Then they go on the road at Michigan to the Big House, and I think it'll be a close game. I think SC will play well, but there's a lot going against them being on the road at the Big House. Michigan has lost to USC the last 3 times they've played, all at the Rose Bowl. So I think they'll be hungry for a win. And I know Michigan they lost Jim Harbaugh. They lost a bunch of other talent on that national championship team. But again, they have being at home in their favor. And SC will play well, but Michigan will pull out the win. So I got USC at 1-2, but I think they will be playing a little bit better in the middle of the season coming up here. So now we have Wisconsin for that 4th game at home. I think USC will win this game. I think defensively, I know they happen to have, Wisconsin has Alex Grinch on the staff as a secondaries coach, but he's not the defensive coordinator. So I think defensive-wise, they'll still be, I guess, okay. But I don't think Wisconsin's going to have the offensive firepower to keep up with USC. So I got USC winning that game, so now they're 2-2. Then they go on the road to Minnesota. I predict a win. That's just how I feel. I know it's a road game, but I think SC still manages to get the win at Minnesota, so I got them at 3-2. Then home game against Penn State. And this is a game that I felt could go either way, but I don't think Penn State is as good of a, I guess they would say they're not quite the team than they are on the road than they are at home. If USC was playing Penn State at Penn State, I would say it would be a loss, but Penn State on the road at USC, I think SC gets the win. I think it'll be a close one. I mean, there's some other games here where I felt that, SC could either win or lose to some of them, but I'm just going to say that for this one against Penn State, USC gets the win. So they're at 4-2, and then they go on the road to Maryland. I got SC winning that one. I'm not saying a game like this would be an easy win or Maryland will be a pushover, but I would think that SC should have enough in them to get the win. So now they're at 5-2. Then they come home to play against Rutgers for a Friday night game, 8:00 Pacific time. Just when we thought, Pac-12 After Dark was done and that USC wouldn't be getting these late night games on the West Coast, turns out they still are, even now in the Big Ten. But for Rutgers, they're playing a game at 11:00 p.m. Eastern, so time-wise, things are going to work against them. I don't think Rutgers I've never really thought much of Rutgers, at least since they've been in the Big Ten. They've seemed like a doormat team, but I think they're a little bit better than they are in previous years, and I don't think they're going to be, again, a pushover. But SC will still pull out the win there. So 6-2. Then on the road at Washington. I think at this point, SC gets a loss because they'll have been on a 5-game win streak. I think they'll be due for a loss in this kind of season. And I know that for Washington, they're replacing a lot as well. They lost Kalen DeBoer to Alabama. Michael Penix isn't there anymore. They lost their whole receiving core. So they're basically in rebuild mode. But I think Jed Fish is a great coach. I thought he did very well with the resources he had at Arizona. And I think at Washington, I think he'll be in a better position to succeed. And again, one of these games that maybe on paper SC would look like they'll be a favored team, but I think it'll just one way or another it's going to end up in Washington's favor and they'll get the win. So I see SC dropping that one. So now at this point I got them at 6-3 on the record. Then after that, SC comes home to play against Nebraska. Again, I kind of see it similar to a Penn State where it's one of these games where I could see it going either way, but I think Nebraska will be a little bit better than what people think. I think they've gradually gotten better, but over the last couple years, and I think this year they could take a little bit more of a step up. But I think SC will still have enough to hold off Nebraska, and we'll see them at SC now at 7-3. Then They go to play at UCLA, and another game that I think could go either way. It could be a tough one. But I got SC winning that one. I don't think it's going to be a blowout by any means. I think it could be really close. I think there will be times where UCLA will be, leading. But I think ultimately SC gets the win. And I think what puts things in favor for USC is the fact that they got D'Anton Lynn as the defensive coordinator, who was their UCLA's defensive coordinator last year. I thought he did a great job over there in turning around that team. And so for him to be on the SC side, plus a couple of UCLA's starters from that defense coming over, I think it'll work in their favor. SC gets the win there. So now they're at 8-3 in the regular season. Then final game against Notre Dame, I predicted a loss. And again, it's another one of these games that's going to be close, but I give Notre Dame the edge because I think USC will be a little bit more beaten and bruised up going into this game. And Notre Dame, while I guess objectively I'll just say they'll be better than they were last year, I also think that they have a fairly easy schedule, and they'll be a little bit more well-rested going into this game. SC, again, a little bit bruised and beaten up by this point at the end of the season at 8-3, but I think Notre Dame gets that win. So regular season, USC finishes 8-4. I don't think they're going to be in the obviously not in the 12-team playoffs or anything like that. Certainly not competing for the Big Ten championship this year. It'll probably be again for an Oregon-Ohio State battle. But I would say it's the best that USC can do given their circumstances. I'll say that they will be a little bit better on defense. Maybe not as strong as they were offensively than in previous years, but again, with an improved defense, it kind of offsets any losses on the offensive side. That's just what I think. Now, I could see SC going, if they went 7-5, it wouldn't surprise me. I think there are a lot of games on the schedule where you could mix and match the different wins and losses. But even if they went 9-3 or 10-2, that wouldn't surprise me either, because I know that there have been some improvement. At least we know there are some improvements that this team could very well make. But I don't see it translating to winning a Big Ten conference championship, or even making it to a 12-team playoffs. I think SC will finish 8-4 and still kind of hover in the top 25. And then maybe for 2025, then we can expect USC to have a little bit higher expectations now that Miller Moss will have a year of experience under his belt. The receiving core, that group of sophomores, will then be juniors. The defense, having played under a new system, getting used to that, I think there'll be reason to have higher expectations in 2025. But for 2024, even without Oregon and Ohio State on this schedule, the fact that you have LSU and Notre Dame there, and still you got teams like Michigan, and I know Penn State, which I know I said is a win, but you still have a lot of tough teams on this schedule. So it's going to be very difficult to make it through a season like this unscathed. So those are my thoughts. I'm more than happy to be proven wrong for some of my losses. I tried not to be a homer as well. So, but I think 8-4 is fairly reasonable, and let's just see what happens. Now, when the season actually starts, I will make adjustments to my predictions, just like I did for 2023. So whatever I'm saying right now, after that LSU game, if USC gets a win or they beat Michigan, then later on in the season, I might have different feelings about games against the likes of a Washington or a Notre Dame. Who knows? but this is just part of the fun. So if you're interested, you can subscribe to the channel and see what's coming. Now, I know for that LSU game, I've already predicted that to be a loss, but I'll also make a score prediction. And the score predictions are also fun. You can see, again, in the comments how I did for my predictions and what the results were, and some of them were pretty close. So that's all I have to say. Until then, fight on.